Welcome back to Levitech. Today we are going to be building a racing sim PC. I love racing. I have a racing sim. I want to do more like YouTube videos on recording and streaming of racing, but I need a PC specifically for that. So today we're going with a racing sim PC. The interesting part is that we're actually using pretty old hardware, yet it still works today and it's totally fine. There are some kind of things I will upgrade later on, but for right now, this is what we have. Little backstory, my wife and I love tech. We really love building PCs. We really love talking about tech, but we don't have huge budgets. So we really have to utilize what we have around the house. We have bought all of these parts in the past. We have used all of these parts in the past. I say that to say, if you want to purchase anything, please do go in the links below. They are affiliate links. They help us out a lot. You know, we get a kickback and it doesn't cost you anymore. So if you are looking into building something and you want to have some fun, you want to do something, I will leave links to everything in the description below. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to run through the parts and talk about why we're using what we're using.
All right, for the CPU, we have the Ryzen 9 3900X, which is a 12-core, 24-thread CPU. It's really great for a lot of things. It used to be our productivity CPU. Right now, it's going into our gaming system. For the motherboard, I wanted to use my X570S Aorus Master gaming motherboard, mainly because it has a ton of features, including PCIe 4.0, M.2 4.0. It can support up to 128 gigs of RAM, which at the time was really important for me, but it also has a ton of connectivity. We've got USB 3.2 Gen 2s. We got my favorite, the 20 gigabyte per second USB-C. And then we also have a bunch of other USB plugs and Wi-Fi 6E. So it's got a lot of great features on this motherboard, and that's one of the reasons why I bought it in the first place. For the GPU, we're going with the PowerColor Red Devil RX 5700 XT. It has 8 gigabytes of VRAM and it is PCIe 4.0 compatible. I love the design on this with the little devil icons and the devil writing, and it's just a really fun, beastly card. It does have a dual BIOS with overclocked and silent, so we will be running the overclocked version. For RAM, we have this kit of T-Force Delta RGB from Team Group. It is a 64 gig kit. We do have two separate kits, and you'll find out later it actually does work, which was nice. So we're going to be running 64 gigs, and it is 3600 speed CL18. It's a great kit of RAM, and I love the color. For power supplies, we are running the PowerSpec 750 watt semi-modular 80 plus broads power supply from Micro Center. I've run these Micro Center power supplies for a while now, and I know that they are really pretty good, and they come with a great 5-year warranty. And since Micro Center is like 30 minutes from my house, if I have any problems, I could just run right up there. For the CPU cooler, we are going with the Deepcool AS500 Plus WH CPU cooler. Now, if you know anything, Deepcool actually is not allowed to sell their products in America because of selling to Russia. So technically this is not sold anymore anywhere in America. We bought this a while ago, so we've had it in a previous build, but I absolutely do love this. And it's a beautiful white CPU cooler, and it keeps the 3900 pretty darn cool, if I must say so myself. For fans, we are running these iKohler Interstellar V2 fans. We have a mix of both reverse blade and normal blade fans. We are going to be running 6 total fans, and the things I love about these ones are they just connect with this little uni fan connector, and then they have one little plug that connects to the fan group and plugs into the RGB in the fans. And I absolutely love that it makes cable management so much easier. So for the case, we are using the Lee & Lee LandCool 2 mesh, and I actually have this as my main editing system case. So one of the reasons why I love this is it has this nice little power supply chamber, but it also has these swinging glass doors, which I absolutely love because it makes getting into the PC easy. It has support for ITX, ATX, MATX motherboards, lots of different size motherboards. It has 2 SATA spots on the bottom here. It also has a lot of fan support. You can do 3 120s in the front. You can do 2 140s or 2 120s on the top, as well as 240 and 280 mil rads. And you get 1 fan spot in the back. And one of the big selling points for me was the amount of space that there is in the case for cable management. I feel like they really thought this out. You can see there's a bunch of cable tie downs right here. And I just feel like there's a lot of room underneath. You can see that you can move the hard drive bay. And so I slid it all the way to the left. And you can see that there are these SATA SSD holders, or you could do RGB control hubs as well.
All right, so we're gonna start with the motherboard, and to do that, you gotta get it out of its protective cover.
So editor Jeremy here. Fun fact is that we had some problems with the motherboard that we were going to use. We were gonna use a Gigabyte X570S or a Master motherboard, but there was a clearance issue with the heatsink and the CPU cooler bracket. And unfortunately, there was no way to go around this, so we end up swapping to a different motherboard. I just wanted to give some context to some things. That's what happened. We had to switch motherboards. Thankfully, we had other motherboards, but just wanted to clear that up so that you can understand why, like what happened.
All right, so that little mishap with the motherboard got me off track for a little bit, so it's unfortunate, but this happens in PC building. I didn't think to check CPU bracket clearances, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put in the 64 gigs of T-Force RGB Delta. It's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, but I really do like all 4 DIMM slots filled. I don't know why, but it's just something that I like to see. Just note that sometimes RAM kits, if they're different sets, don't like to be compatible together. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the 3900X installed. One thing to note about AM4 is that you have this little gold triangle on the chip that corresponds to the triangle on the socket. And now we're gonna go ahead and take the CPU cooler mounting hardware off of this and swap it onto the other board. You will need the backplate that comes with the board. So now we're going to install the SSD that we have. This is a 1 terabyte inland SSD that is the Microcenter in-house brand. It has already my Windows and games loaded up on it, so I thought I would just go ahead and swap it in. Now, I don't know if there will be any problems because it's on a 2600X and it Asus X570 board, but we'll go ahead and get everything maintained when we get it installed and turned on, and I will report back whether or not it was stable and it worked. I just had this already ready to go and I wanted to keep it that way. And we're gonna go ahead and put the heatsink on. Now the heatsink was a little disgusting. There's some like hair and some stuff on it, so I hope that that's okay, but I just wanted to put a heatsink on this SSD since there was none already on it. Just like that, we have our platform done and ready to go. We're actually going to go ahead and put on our thermal paste and our CPU cooler. So we need to go ahead and get these brackets on before I get ahead of myself. This is the CPU cooler bracket, and this is the part that actually had a clearance issue on the other motherboard. Again, I made making a big deal about it. It's just more of a hassle to have to think about and take away from the actual building of the computer.
Okay, 64 gigs of RAM, 3900X, 1 terabyte SSD that already has everything loaded. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get the CPU cooler installed.
So I'm doing a test fit here just to make sure that the fan will clear the RAM, and it actually does clear it. You can barely tell that it's on there. It's just barely touching the side of the RAM stick, so it's not actually over the RAM stick. Now we're gonna go ahead and put CPU thermal paste on here. I usually do 1 P drop, and then I do a little bit more around the sides, just because I like to have a little bit more thermal paste on there just to be safe. And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tighten this down. And one little tip I have is to tighten on alternating sides, because that way it makes sure that both sides get tightened down consistently so that you get even pressure along the whole thing. And we're going ahead and we're tightened down here, and we're going to add the fans on with these little bracket things, which I actually don't like. And there we go, we're installed. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the motherboard in the case, and I've actually seen too many people online try to do this while it's standing up, and it does not look like fun. So we're gonna actually lay the case down on its side and put the motherboard in. Motherboard installation is one of my least favorite parts, mainly because you have to screw in so many millions of screws. But the one thing I do love about this one is that it has an integrated IO shield, so I don't actually have to put an IO shield in the back. It doesn't look pretty, but this one actually does because it's integrated. And like I said, we have to screw in a million different motherboard screws, which is my least favorite part, especially because sometimes it can get hard to get to them. I've actually had to move the CPU fans in this one in order to get to a couple, and it's just annoying.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, run these through up here, out back. Those are out the back. So now what we need to do is we need to wire everything up. But first, I actually want to take off these front fans. This lean thing is so hard to take off, this front part, on both mine and this piece. So, as I said, we have normal blade fans and we have non-normal blade fans. So, these are the normal blade fans. The fins are kind of sticking this way, like you can see it's, anyway, so these are the normal fans. Okay, so you can see right here, you see how these fins are sticking are sloping down into the case, and these are sloping up towards the ceiling. These are normal fans, these are reverse blade fans. So the idea with the reverse blade fans is so that you can do intake while it still is looking forward. So the front fans here, if you look, like you can see these bars, and I don't like that. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it like this, so that the reverse blade is on the inside. So you can see the mirror finish and everything. Again, I also don't like how many freaking cords these have, and then also these are so dirty we have to clean them. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take these all out. There we go. Good. Here we go. Yeah. These are the problem. Like you can see all of these cords. All right, so again, sorry, camera battery change. So we're taking these fans off because I hate them. There's also, again, all these cables. That's the one thing about RGB that a lot of people don't understand, or probably do, but just don't care. There's all of the cable mess that you get. Now, I've already thought this through and how I'm going to do this, so I already know what I'm doing. You can see intake, 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 but it looks prettier. Now, the fun part with this is you don't actually need to use all of those screws because they're all connected together. So I've already got this thing connected in here, but basically it's this one connection cable. Okay, so that goes in there. This will come up and go through. So you can daisy chain these fans and the RGB on these. So if you are running tons, you can do that, which are pretty nice. You can see right here, the 3 fans, you can see the infinity mirror. And it's, again, it's not a huge deal. Okay, it's not a huge deal, but it was a big enough deal to me that like I wanted it to look a little bit better than the way that it looked. Clip these together and we're gonna put them like so. So basically they're gonna be exhausting air. These front 3 will be intaking, the top and the back will be exhausting air. We're gonna connect it to this guy. You gotta be careful about how you put these on because of the way the cords will go. So I'm gonna put it so that these cords are going through here. There we go. We got, as you can see, we got 1 fan, 2 fans, 3 fans. These extension cables So these are the PCIe, which I will be running 2 PCIe cables. And then we got the 24-pin motherboard one. So plugging in the motherboard 24-pin as we speak. Now we're gonna run that along like that. And then the GPU ones we will go down through here. We'll just get those situated right here. Now the 3.0, so that's down there. Then we need the power LEDs and all that crap. So HD audio we're gonna throw up in here. You may be wondering why I'm doing HD audio, and the reason being is because I actually sometimes use the front panel. Okay, and then the front. Okay, front panel. And yes, I'm reading the manual. There we go. So I think I got that front panel wired up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the power supply in here. We're going with the PowerSpec 750 watt power supply. This is enough power for my GPU. It's enough power for a lot of things. It is semi-modular, which I don't care. Again, we're running power supply cables. Should zip tie those out of the way now. So power supply is in. I honestly believe that these power supplies are some of the best. And that's not a sponsored segment from Micro Center. Okay. All right, now you can actually see that I do have this little RGB fan and splitter. Oh, man. So, come on. Snug as a bug in a rug. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's down. I'm going to use this tie down. Now, the PCIe slots. Oh man, I should have plugged in another PCIe cable. So this can come in through here. Okay, and then I'm also going to need SATA. So I'm going to run that in. Okay, so I have SATA, which I'm going to need if I run this or that. I don't remember these being this tough. There we go. So that's one PCIe cable. Let me get this up and in over here so I can get that out of the way. So that we're just gonna zip tie down along the side here. But in this second PCIe, we're gonna plug in to here. Again, because I don't know if you're supposed to, but I heard, at least with my 3080, because it has 3, that you want 3 separate plugs. Now, you can comment down below if that's the case, but I'd rather, because I'm going to be running the overclocked BIOS, I'd rather just have 2 separate PCIe things. This is the part of cable management that I really don't like, and I thought you could take this hard drive bracket out. Whew. I'm going to take all these off for right now. All these brackets off. Because we're about to do the CPU power. So that's going to go in this side. So the CPU power cable is always the hardest thing for me to do. Pretty sure it's the hardest thing for everybody to do. There we go. We got CPU power in. We're gonna push this over more. I think I have everything plugged in to the front except for fans and RGB. Let me throw the GPU in here. So again, the GPU's going here. And we're just gonna, there we go. Gotta love a good GPU sound. Let's screw this down. Just here. But there we go. I love cable extensions because they add just a nice little pop of color, especially in an all white build. So you get this nice little color pop, or just like, I guess, like if you're going with a color, you can get color pop. This is for this fan. This fan goes up here. There you go. Fine. It works. All right. Ta-da! So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna plug it into power. HDMI. So we're gonna hit. We got some light there. Power on. Ooh, that camera got hit. So we've hit power on. Now I'm just waiting for a post. Okay. Power on. Oh, did I miss the BIOS? I did miss the BIOS. That's fine. Okay, so it must know that it's a 3900X, not a 2600X. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. BIOS has reconfigured. It's been reset. Okay, that's fine. Alright. Tweaker, extreme memory profile. Let's hit that on profile 1. For anyone who is building PCs, this little like keyboard is great because it's got a little mouse pad, keyboard, everything that you could need. So great option. All right. You're gonna boot into Windows at 3600. Boom. We're in. Awesome. Gotta get Wi-Fi hooked up. That'll be fine. Fix a little bit of the cable management. We'll be good.
All right, well, we finished building this PC and man, does it look good. I didn't think that I would like the black GPU with the white and then the black interior, but I actually think that it came together pretty well, and we've got it in purple. As I said, this is going to be a racing sim PC, and basically I am going to use it to record gameplay, stream while I drive my racing sim. So this has been something that I've been wanting to do for a little while, is have a dedicated system that really kind of is low maintenance and pretty easy. We've got the, as I said, the 3900X in here, and we ran a Cinebench test and it was like almost 18,000 points, and I don't think it hit over 65C. And that's with the air cooler. Now that was the front panel off, or the side panel off, so maybe it goes up to 70 or 68, but still, Miranda's 7900X is a 360 mil radiator and it hits like 90 degrees. I missed the days of cooler temperatures. The 64 gigs of RAM did work, so we're able to run 64 at 3600 megahertz. So I'll keep you updated on whether that's stable enough or not, but basically this thing is phenomenal. I am so stoked to get on it. I actually am going to be playing some racing tonight, so honestly this thing just came together and I'm so happy with how it looks. Obviously my wife's PC is a lot nicer than this one. Link up here. I think this is phenomenal. I can't wait to game on it. I can finally run this in the overclocked BIOS. I had a 650 watt power supply in the other one. Couldn't run that in overclock because this requires like a 750 watt power supply. So thank you so much for watching. If you're here till the end, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when we post more videos. We're trying to come out with a lot of videos in 2025. We really appreciate you. Again, I'm leaving links in the description below if you want to purchase anything. They obviously are affiliate links. Please use those if you decide to buy any of these parts. And thank you so much. And I am looking forward to making some more videos. So stay tuned, and I hope to see you in the next one.